Alright, let's go ahead and continue the Raspberry Pi theme and do a few more things with it. I have I'm SSH'd into my Raspberry Pi right here. You see it looks a little bit different. I customized it a little bit. Usually the first thing I do when I'm setting up a new system is I just install the install all the programs that I usually use. So I'd normally just update Pacman. See, it usually comes up with some things to do. And there's quite a bit. We're not going to do that right now. After updating, then I'd install the most important programs to me, which are Git, Vim, etc. You know, install the ones that you need and use. Probably RxVT Unicode. We'll be using that in a second. So you can install all those. It's going to tell me these are already all installed. So I'm just going to say no. And then I generally will go to my home directory, and you can open up your bash profile. And I just set my term environment variable to RxVT 256 color so I can get nice colors on my terminal. And then I'll usually do a git init in this directory. I'm not going to do it right now since I already have a git directory here. But after you do a git init, you can do a git remote add, and then say origin, and then put in, you know, whichever GitHub repository you want. I use my own .files, so I usually add that. That's already going to be part of my list though here. And then once you do that, you can pull down the changes. Right now I'm in my GitHub branch here, and I've already pulled down all those changes. So it uses my bashrc and all the settings I'm used to, all the Vim settings and everything I'm already used to. So that's how I got this set up, just so you know. I'm running SSH inside of a tmux session right here. I'll close this just so you can see. There's nothing nothing crazy going on here. I don't have tmux inside the Pi or anything. You can do that, but I just like having a tmux session open so I can get to my own computer. And as you can see, the IP for my Pi is 1.3, so just SSH into there, put in my password, and then I'm at my Pi. Okay, so now that we've got that covered, let's go ahead and blink an LED. That's usually the first thing you want to do after you get your Pi all set up. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's my Raspberry Pi. As you can see, I've taken all the USB mouse, USB keyboard, things like that out. All I have is an Ethernet cable and a power cable, and of course the SD card for the operating system. And this is just a minimalist approach so that I can SSH into it, and I don't have to actually plug in any HDMI cable or USB cables or anything like that. And then I purchased this kind of a breakout male-to-female cable just so I can get all the GPIO pins into the breadboard so that I can play with them more easily. So they're all just matched up by color, exactly the same over here. And if you've never dealt with a breadboard before, then these side trays, they run kind of vertically like this, depending on which way you want to look at it. And then each of these trays run in this direction. So each of the pins will have 4 other spots where I can connect to that pin. And then I have hooked up over here just a simple LED with a pull-down resistor. And this is going out to ground, and this is going to be our power right here. You can see these are the ground and the power here. And if I move this red cable right here over into the 3-volt tray, then the LED will come on. But instead we're going to put it in this second blue one here. which is pin number 17, GPIO pin 17, and that's what we're going to be using to blink an LED using Bash on the Pi. So let's get into that. So on the Raspberry Pi, if I go to the root directory, there's several different directories here, and you're probably familiar with the dev directory. That's where a lot of the normal devices live. You can also find some device files in this sys directory, and I'll be the first to tell you I don't know everything about the inner workings of all these directories, but inside this sys class directory there's a GPIO directory. So we're in a sys class GPIO right here, and there's three different files: export, GPIO chip, which is a symbolic link, and unexport. First we need to get root access, so I'm just going to log into the root user, and we'll take a look at these again. And with the export command, you can basically tell the Pi which pin you want to be using. So I could say echo pin number 17, which is what we just plugged, and that's the pin we're going to be using, so I'm going to echo that to the export file. And then you're going to see that now we have a symbolic link to pin number 17 right here, and it's actually a directory, so we can go inside GPIO 17 and we get some other files. The two files we're going to be working with right now are direction and value. First we want to tell it if we're going to read or if we're going to write information to pin number 17, and we're planning on writing, so we're going to echo out to direction. And we can actually cat direction and see that we've set that. And then for the value, if I set the value to 1, that should turn the LED on, and if I set the value to 0, that should turn the LED off. So now that we've gotten all that set up, let me just show you the actual LED so you can believe it. If we set it to 1, then it turns the LED on, and if we set it to 0, then it turns the LED off. And there we go, we've turned an LED on and off. If we want it to blink, we could put a little while loop and a little delay in there. So for instance, if I wanted to blink the LED, I could do something like while true, do sleep for a second, echo 1 into the value, sleep for a second, and echo 0 into the value, and done. Then as you can see, the LED will blink on and off for a second using nothing but Bash on the Raspberry Pi. So that's pretty much it for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll try and continue this and do more interesting things.